Mike with Mike's Bags. Today I'm reviewing the Glacier by SubZero Bag Company. This is the newest bag to the SubZero lineup. Let's go ahead and dive in. We'll break these bags down. Slow side's a hybrid material. It's the same slow side you find on the Viper R, the Lucky Pro Sniper Elites, Reynolds Thunder, AAR Ripper, Swag Bags Chaos, the Cornhole Coastal Fear, the Killer Bees Armite, the True Cornhole Aftershocks. It's a very popular material. It's a wonderful material. It's really a very versatile material, a very player-friendly material. It's very hole-friendly for it. I call it about a 5.5 speed. It's kind of between a 5 and a 6. Brand new, it's play a little quicker. Once it starts to break and softens up, it sells about that 5.5. It's a touch faster than a lot of those other hybrid materials, which is why a lot of people like it. But about a 5.5 speed, very hole friendly for control you get with it. It's very forgiving as well. So if you don't throw the flattest of bags, this material doesn't have a ton of kick to it. So it's not a bag that's really going to punish you like a grippier, slower material would. So 5.5 on the slow side. Fast side, this is a newer material out there. It's actually the same fast side that Gnarly uses on the Knockout I reviewed a while back. It's the same material that's on the fast side of the Cornhole Coastal Creature and Fear, the B3 Fatal Coyote Ranger. It's the fast side of the BG Witcher. It's the same material as those, but they use the other side of it. The only company, like I said, bag that I know that uses this same side of this material is that Gnarly Knockout. I don't know why more companies haven't used this material yet. I mean, I'm starting to see more of it, so maybe we'll see more down the road. It's very similar to that Game Changer Surefire fast side. It has a similar look to it, similar playability. I just like the way this material feels. It has a softer feel to it. I just love the way this feels better than that material, and I've become more of a fan of this material, both sides of it, as opposed to that, Game Changer or Pro Sniper, those materials, the sides of those materials. But anyway, it plays about an 8.5 speed, so it's fast but has some control to it. It's fast enough for pushing through blockers, cleaning up messes. But you don't, it's not overly fast. It's going to fly off the back of the board if you lose control of it. So looking at a 5.5, 8.5 speed on these Glaciers. Template wise, medium template bag, medium amount of fill, but it's on the fuller side of medium. So it's not. I'm not gonna call it a full bag. These two materials, they stretch a lot, so it's not a bag that's going to be full, stay full. It's as you break these bags in, they tend to stretch. You're going to lose some of that fullness, but it still stays on the fuller side of medium, if that makes sense. So you've got flop here. It is not an overly floppy bag. You can see the puffiness on both sides here. It's definitely not as floppy as the Wintertide, which is something that I got my Wintertides here. Now these Wintertides I've had for a while. This is actually the pre-stamp. These are before that SubZero had the ACL stamp to them. So I don't know. It's probably not a fair comparison to compare these because I don't know if this bag has changed since they got the ACL stamp. I think it's pretty much the same. But I know if you were going to compare the Wintertide to the Glacier, once you get the Wintertide is a little bit larger template. It's a medium template, but it stretches more, a little less fill in there, and you get a little more flop. These Wintertides are going to get floppier than the Glacier. So if you like a floppier bag, you go with the Wintertides. Like a fuller bag, you go with the Glaciers. Completely different materials. They play similar, but yet they're completely different. And then you change the fill and the amount of fill, and you really get completely different playability on there. The fill in these Glaciers is I think it's 100% or mostly flat fill, but it's that thicker flat fill. It's not the flat disc. The Wintertide uses that flat disc fill. This uses that thicker flat fill, which gives the bag a little more movement, a little more action, but still has some forgiveness to it. So if you're looking for a bag to shape shots, cuts, rolls, flops, the Glacier is better than the Wintertide in it, but it's still not overly bouncy, overly active. It's not going to, like I said, it's not going to punish you with a really harsh kick. If you don't throw a flat bag, you can still get away throwing these Glaciers. It's still land, have a little bit of a kick, a little bit of movement, but not a ton. You can definitely play it and deal with it. And these Glaciers are also ACL Pro Stamp for 2024, so you play ACL events, you can throw these Glaciers. Let's go ahead and jump in and talk more about playability, and I'll break that down more for you. It's a bag. It's a very versatile bag. It really is. You can take this slow side here, and if you just want to run bags in the hole, you can do it. Put your 4 bags in, outscore your opponent. You can definitely do that. And for me, if I'm looking to choose a bag and I'm wanting to run bags in the hole, I like this material a little better than some of the other hybrids because it is a touch faster, a little more hole friendly. Still have that control to throw a blocker every now and then if you need to. Definitely a great material for running bags in the hole. If you like to play a dirty style game, you can do it with these bags. You can take some material and you can really put that control and put that blocker where you want if you want to, kind of take a little bit off that bag speed and slow it down and put a level 1, level 2, level 3 blocker up there. No problem with that. And because the bag's kind of on that fuller side of fill in here, it's definitely very collectible. It's typically the floppier bags. I talk about how they hit and they accordion up, which is what you get with the Wintertide. It's a little bit floppier. It hits and accordions up. It's a little tougher to ride bags up the board with the Wintertide. You've got to become more in that middle if you want to push a level 3 blocker up there. Wintertide's great for collecting around the hole. This Glacier is great if you put a level 3 blocker. You can still come down and just kind of clip that corner and ride it and push it all the way up, it'll drop in there for you. So if you like to play a dirty style game, you like to throw more blockers and worry about collecting later, I think the Glacier is a better bag. If you like to play more of a get around style game, that's where the Wintertide shines for me. That's how I kind of differentiate the two. So if you like more flop and like play more of a get around game, you go with the Wintertide. If you like a fuller bag and you like to play more blockers, the collectability of it, I think you go with the Glacier. Speed-wise, they're similar. Glacier's going to be a touch faster on the slow side, but a touch slower on the fast side. But similar speeds, completely different materials again, but similar speed, similar playability as far as that goes. The Glacier is also a great bag, and for me, it's a bag where I play that hybrid style game where I'm running bags in the hole one round, the next round throwing blockers, playing dirty style game. It has enough control to it that if my opponent is throwing blockers up there, I can get up there and step out and kind of throw that cut shot, make a slight cut, get around, take my bag in. Like I said, if you like to roll or flop, you can do it with this bag. You know, it's not the easiest for the cuts, rolls, and flops, so you got to be more on that advanced level of those skill sets to be able to do it. But the average, average to below average, probably not the best bag for that. But you can do it. If you know how to roll or flop or cut a bag, you can do it with any bag. It's just a matter of being able to get enough of that back load, front load, or the side tilt, whichever way you're trying to do to get the bag to move where you want to. But again, not super aggressive, not super bouncy. You're not gonna get those harsh movements, those harsh cuts or kicks in this bag. It's very forgiving. If I had to knock this Glacier, the one negative I would say about this, and I'm gonna nitpick here just for a second, it's because on the floor side, not as forgiving around the hole. Typically I talk about landing zones of bags, and these floppier bags have larger landing zones. And what I mean is if you miss your mark a little bit to the left or the right of that mark, as long as you get a corner to dip in, it'll pull the bag back in. Because the bag's on the floor side, you don't get that drip of the corner as much as you would with the floppier bag. So if you're just catching the corner over the hole, sometimes it just kind of wants to skip over the hole. It doesn't want to grab. You've got to get more of that bag over that hole before it starts to drip in and grab and pull it. But if you get enough to grab, it'll pull it and bring it back in. Again, nitpicking here. So if, and I say that because if I hit my mark and throw it right, the bag's going in the hole. It's when I miss my mark, it doesn't have that forgiveness to pull the bag back in. But you gain more control with a fuller bag like this, so you get the ability for those shot shapings, the cuts, rolls, and flops that you don't get with the floppier bag. That's the trade-off you get. So something you got to think about, what's more important to you, shot shaping, cuts, rolls, and flops, or the forgiveness around the hole, and that's how you kind of just decide whether you want a fuller bag or a floppier bag on these. But all in all, I love the way the Glacier played. It really fits my style of play real well. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of success throwing it. It's a fun bag to throw. It plays even better in competition as an open board because it really does a great job of getting around bags, going through bags, fast sides, plenty fast enough to push your blockers, push your multiple blockers. You want to, if you've got two bags up there, you can push through and collect with no problem. So Glacier plays really well. I was impressed with it. I highly recommend you guys checking it out, which leads me into availability. SubZero has their website, SubZeroBagCo.com. As always, I'll put a link down in the description for you guys. The bags are $90 for a set and $10 shipping, so $100 shipped to you. But I do have a discount code, MikesBags. You use that, it'll save you. I think it's like 5%, so get it closer to like $95.50 or something like that for a set shipped to you, just under $100. Great price, kind of in that medium to low price point range for ACL stamp bags. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. If you've been interested in trying a SubZero bag but you don't know where to start, Glacier is a great bag to start. It really kind of that middle of the road style bag I think most players can throw. So if you're wanting to check one out, get us at the Glaciers. I think you're going to love them. If you've thrown the Glaciers, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you like, what you don't like. Always love hearing your guys' opinions on these bags. I thank you so much for your support, and I thank you for watching.